Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you guys back to the AFC podcast, and I hope everybody kind of understands what my point and purpose of this is, and it's to bring awareness to the murder and abuse of children in hopes of trying to prevent it. I believe that is my calling in life, and we got to call out this story. This story actually comes out of Chicago. I made a little bit of an error and had the wrong story pulled up, but I've got it pulled up now. This story comes out of Chicago, so Illinois takes yet another L again and again and again. I just don't know what it is about Chirac, excuse me, Chicago, whatever y'all want to call it. Really doesn't matter to me. Nonetheless, an Uptown woman smothered her daughter with a plastic bag on her 8th birthday as the little girl screamed for her mom to stop. And I almost forgot. I need to give you guys a disclaimer really quick for those who might not understand the type of content we bring here. Some people might find this content offensive and controversial. I get my information from many different sources, including the police and the courts. My content also has my personal opinion, which you might be offended by. So that is your official disclaimer. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay? Again, a mother smothered her 8-year-old daughter to death on her birthday, which I think that makes it even worse. This beautiful little angel right here. Okay, let me see if I can get a solo picture of her. I think I have one right here. Beautiful little smile with her beads in her hair. Beautiful baby girl. And I got to tell you guys, let me show you something real quick. One thing I do not have sympathy for is for individuals who hurt our babies. And I'm sorry, like, I don't know why she's crying and why she feels sad or why she even looks like somebody pulled her out of a lawnmower, like a weed whacker just went to her face and just went to town. Like, I just don't understand why the devil was so cruel to her face. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. I'm just saying, when I saw this, I'm just like, they could have found a better picture of this woman, and then I realized, oh, those are two different pictures, and she looks the same way in her court pictures as well. But nonetheless, let's move past that very difficult to look at face. Let's keep going. That individual's name is Andriel Hagler. That name is really funny because it looks like she's related to the Haglers, because y'all know Marvin Hagler used to be a great boxer back in the day. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Marvin Hagler. Go Google search him. Go look him up on YouTube. Excellent fighter. He fought some of the best fights. He fought against, God dang it, I forgot his name. It slipped my mind. But nonetheless, she looks like she could have been related to him because she looks like she's lost a couple of heavyweight fights in her life. In the face. 38 years old. That is a shame. This woman looks like she could be my grandmother. That means I'm older than her. Now, I'm not saying I'm the picture of health. I'm not saying I'm the most beautiful thing in the world to look at, but I am just saying she don't look 38 at all. She is charged with first-degree murder in the death of her own daughter, and that baby's name is Amaria Osby, Osby. She was found dead in their apartment in the building of 4639 North Winthrop, not Winthrop. I keep wanting to say Winthrop because that's the way it looks visually. But anyway, found her on Wednesday morning. Prosecutors say that Hagler's brother, the mother's brother, went to her home in Uptown on Wednesday to check on Hagler and Amaria after calling her and not getting an answer. When he got there, he found both of them unresponsive inside. He discovered a comforter on the bed that was covering another body. 2 small legs from the shins down were visible, according to prosecutors. When the police got there, Amaria's uncle directed them into the bedroom, where officers found the mother Hagler lying on the bed face down with a plastic bag over her head. I could make some jokes about that. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it, children. I'm not going to do it. But I'll get back to the bag over the face in a minute. They saw 2 small legs coming from under the bed, and when they moved the comforter, they found her daughter, Amaya, lying on the bed in her underwear, deceased. She was dead, with blood under her nose, froth around her mouth, and blood on her thigh, according to prosecutors. Let's keep going. As officers tried to get the mother to get off the bed, she resisted by stiffening her body and clutching the mattress. Let me say that again. For those who might not have caught it, the mother actually attempted to commit suicide. So this was supposed to be a murder-suicide, and it's funny how these criminals always allegedly try to commit suicide and they fail to do that, but they successfully kill kids. It's funny how that works. They tried to get her off the bed and she resisted. Isn't that something? They were trying to get her off the bed and she resisted before they were able to handcuff her and lift her off the bed, placing her in a chair. She kept her eyes closed and didn't want to talk before the ambulance arrived to take her to Wise Memorial Hospital to be checked out. The little girl, of course, was pronounced deceased on the scene. Prosecutors said an autopsy determined Amaria died from multiple injuries caused by an assault, including bleeding under her scalp, bleeding on her brain, and injuries from asphyxiation. So she was beat up by her bully mother. A toxicology report later revealed that the mother had PCP in her system. While she was in custody, the mother admitted the night before she and Amaria had said their prayers before bed around 8 or 9 p.m. And then she began doing PCP and smothered Amaria with a plastic bag as her daughter screamed, "Mama, stop." And I know that's hard to hear, but I want you guys to remember, as difficult as that is to hear, there's nothing more difficult than we can just sit and listen to the story. We didn't have to live through what the little girl went through. So I think we could at least pay our respects. She said she felt it was her time to go because they both were born on the 24th. Prosecutor said in a court filing, I am not making that up. She said they had the same birthday, and apparently mom felt like it was time for them to go meet Jesus, I guess. But we'll get back to where's the biological father. We'll get back to that here in a moment. The mother also admitted to drinking bleach that night, but her daughter refused to drink any before the mother put the plastic bag over her head to smother her, according to prosecutors. They also said that the mother claimed that she thought her daughter did not love her anymore and her dad loved her more. Let me repeat that statement. The mother claimed that her daughter didn't love her and the dad loved her more. So let me explain to people why I believe that this is about jealousy, and this woman was actually making a conscious choice to try to end her daughter's life in order to inflict pain, like an immeasurable amount of pain on the biological father. For her to make a statement to say her daughter doesn't love her, my daughter does not have to love me in order for me to take care of my daughter, and I hope everybody understands that. My daughter does not have to feel a certain way about me in order for me to make sure that she's in school, for her to have clothes on her back, to have shoes on her feet, to have food on her table, for her to have good medical care. You guys understand where I'm coming from, everybody? Kind of understand where I'm coming from, right? That a child, any child that you bring into this world, they come into this world not on their own volition, but because we chose to bring them into this world as adults, right? So that is our choice that we put on them. They don't have to do anything, but we absolutely have to make sure and take care of our children, regardless of what their emotional state was. Maybe if you weren't such an asshole to your daughter, maybe she might love you. Maybe if you didn't make your daughter believe that she owed you something for you giving birth to her, like I've heard a lot of mothers do. I know it's not all. I know we got a lot of good mothers in the chat. My daughter's mother is a great, great mother. It's not all. I hope I don't ever have to say that again. Not all. Hope everybody understands that's a generalization. You know what a generalization is, right? In general. Yeah. In general. Not everybody, okay? But there are a lot of mothers out there that feel like their children owe them something. I'm sure you guys have heard stories about these old NFL players that go and that have worked their butts off their entire life, go get these contracts in the NFL. Then their mothers turn around and be like, well, what are you going to do for me? You owe me. And what's the first thing a lot of those fools do? And I think they're fools for spending inordinate amounts of money on their mothers for something that they've worked their entire lives for before they take care of themselves. I think that's highly irresponsible, right? I'm bringing this up to make a point. In general, fathers will never make their children feel like they owe them something. We always feel like we owe our children something. And there are a lot of people out there, a lot of mothers out there like this mother, not all, but a lot of them, and this is the behavior we need to call out, that make their children feel like that they owe them something. Then to sit there and say that, well, my dad loves me more, or the daughter loves her dad more than the mom. Is that what I'm trying to say? Getting tongue tied. Yeah.
Like her mother, like she loves her mother less than her father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, if that's the case, then a logical mind could look at it and say, well, why does my daughter love the dad more than the mom? A logical person would think this, and you would say, well, how is he treating her? How is he making her feel? What is he doing that I'm not doing? But why even ask logical questions, right? We just want to get in our emotions and throw logic out the freaking window. But let's keep going. The door to the apartment 1A at Winthorpe Avenue building remained sealed on Friday afternoon because, of course, they had to seal it off. Coming through the door just hours before the murder were child welfare investigators. The Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, we've talked about them many times on this podcast, have confirmed that they had previous contact with the family, but they say never for the children, but they came for the adults. Yeah, go handle that. Thank you. Let me read that again. The Illinois Department of Children and Family Services confirmed that they had contact with the family, but they say they never came for the children, but they came for the adults. How does that make any sense? Even in their title, it says the Illinois Department of Children, the Illinois Department of Children and Family. If you're not there for the children and family, then why would you be checking with the family if you're not checking on the welfare of the children? Like I say, if I were a box of crayons, I might be a navy blue because I'm probably not the brightest crayon in the box, but it seems like that makes sense to me. If child services and family services comes by, you would think they would check on the children. But again, that's a failure on the state of Illinois. But let's keep going. DCFS most recent visit came the same day that the mother Hagler later smothered Amario and a day before the girl was found dead. But they're saying that they didn't come for the children. Maybe they anyway. No signs of abuse, neglect, or danger were noted by our investigator, DCFS spokesman Bill McCaffrey said it in an email. This family previously participated in Intact Family Services from a substance abuse-related incident in 2017. The recent visit was the result of an allegation of domestic violence and was the first contact with the family since closing the prior case in 2018. Let's back this up like a U-Haul truck and understand that this girl was 8 years old. So if they closed the case in 2018 and this case started in 2017, which was their initial contact, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So that means they already had this little girl if this was the only kid that she had. So if you have a drug-related situation with a child under a roof and you hear this allegation, why would you not do further investigation to check on the welfare of the children? Maybe I'm missing something. Like I said, maybe it's just me. But let's keep going. The domestic violence allegation DCFS investigated in 2018 involved abuse by one parent against another, not against Amaria. And that still doesn't make any sense. If you have abuse in the home, then that should naturally apply to the children because the children are around, unless you're telling me the children were on vacation or something. I don't know. There have not been any previous allegations of abuse or neglect of Amaria, and that sounds like they're just trying to CYA, cover their own butts. Neighbors of the family said that their apartment was normally quiet. They also said Amaria liked to make cookies out of Play-Doh and always had a smile on for them. One of the neighbors was like Dave Dolinsky, who talked to us earlier this week. He said she was an angel and always smiled and said, "Hello, hi, Dave." I cannot read. I held her when she was months old. We did barbecues together, just a great girl. As of late Friday, Hagler's attorney said that his client remains nearly comatose and a suicide risk behind bars. He said she was, for 17 years, an occupational therapist. Occupational therapy, but yet you behave like this. Hagler's bond was denied on Friday, and I think that is rightfully so. So I don't know, man. I think that those people probably need help. Whoever got occupational therapy from her sounds really, really weird. But let me give you guys the fair usage. Let's get into the news videos. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Also, you guys can do me a huge favor. If you guys would do me a favor and click that thumbs up. What it does is it helps share this video and lets more people know where we are. So we need one thumb up for everybody watching. Please hit that thumbs up. Here we go. Let's get it. All right, here we go. Let's get it.
We're learning an 8-year-old girl from Chicago's Uptown neighborhood died yesterday of asphyxiation.
Sources tell CBS 2 her mother remains hospitalized after a suicide attempt. CBS 2's Chris Ty live with new details on how this family was on the state welfare agency's radar. Chris?
Joe and Erica, the family of Amaria Osby had been on the radar of the Department of Children and Family Services since 2018. Domestic violence was the reason they would visit, but violence not towards children, the department says. It was violence among the adults in that household. And their most recent visit to that home came one day before that little girl died. This is Amaria Osby. She liked to make cookies out of Play-Doh and always had a smile for neighbors in the courtyard of the family's Uptown apartment complex here on the 4600 block of North Winthrop. Neighbors like Dave Dolinsky.
She was an angel, and always smiled, always said hello, hi Dave.
There will be no more hellos. The medical examiner's office has sealed the apartment Amaria died in. Sources say she was asphyxiated and that her 38-year-old mother tried killing herself after the incident. So far, no charges have been filed. Her mom was hospitalized in good condition.
I held her when she was months old, and we did barbecues together, and just a great girl.
For much of that great girl's life, the State Welfare Office, the Department of Children and Family Services, was present. 6 years ago, visits from DCFS began after a substance abuse issue led to the state to look in on things. The most recent visit to the house came just one day before her death, related to domestic violence between adults. DCFS says there were no allegations of abuse or neglect against the youth.
CBS 2 is always investigating, and tonight we're trying to figure out how an 8-year-old girl ended up dead in her home. Sources tell us the girl was found asphyxiated in her home in the 4600 block of North Winthrop. They also say her mother tried to commit suicide. CBS 2's Chris Ty reports DCFS visited the family just one day before the little girl's death.
Her mom is said to be in good condition as that police investigation continues, and it was the state welfare agency, DCFS, that showed up to that house just one day before Amaria Osby died.
I held her when she was months old, and we did barbecues together, and just a great girl.
Neighbors who knew her and held her on her first days sat stunned Wednesday when her body was removed from her family's Uptown apartment here. Sources tell CBS 2 8-year-old Amaria Osby was asphyxiated behind the door of the home, now sealed with tape from the medical examiner's office, the same office that was slated to perform an autopsy Thursday. One day before her death, another governmental agency came knocking on that same door, DCFS. The Department of Children and Family Services began their visits with her family over substance abuse issues in the house 5 years ago. Tuesday's visit, the department says, was related to more recent incidents involving domestic violence between adults in the home, not kids. But it was a violent end to the life of an 8-year-old whose presence lightened the neighborhood she called home.
She was an angel, and always smiled, always said hello, hi Dave.
DCFS says there are no records of any abuse or neglect towards Amaria. The investigation into this case continues still. So far, no charges.
In her final moments of life, her mother says she shouted, "Mama, stop." Today, that mother of an 8-year-old girl from Chicago's Uptown neighborhood is charged with her murder. As CBS 2's Chris Tye tells us, police say they have a confession and some chilling details captured on tape.
It's bedtime Tuesday night, the 24th, in what neighbors call a normally quiet apartment 1A here in Uptown. 38-year-old Andrea Hagler and her 8-year-old daughter Amaria Osby begin saying prayers when it happened. The mom told police she felt it was their time to go because they were both born on the 24th, and she felt her daughter didn't love her anymore, and she loved her dad more. Hagler says she drank bleach, and her daughter didn't drink any. Moments later, she then smothered her daughter with a plastic bag. The last sounds the defenseless 8-year-old uttered, her mom says, was screaming, "Mama, stop." The next morning, the girl's uncle discovered them inside. He called police, who discovered a comforter on the bed that was covering another body. 2 small legs from the shins down were visible. Amaria was asphyxiated. Her mom, admittedly on PCP, failed a suicide attempt. Later to police, she explained that she put the bag over her daughter's head, similar to how the bag was over her head when the police found her. The door to apartment 1A remains sealed. Through that door, just hours before the murder, DCFS investigators.
Also breaking, a huge development in the Amaria Osbury case.
She is the little girl killed in her own home. We've been uncovering what DCFS did and didn't do in this investigation.
CBS 2's Chris Tye joins us live. And Chris, you learned DCFS just took action against some of their own workers.
Joe and Erica, we learned about 90 minutes ago the 2 workers most closely tied to the Amaria Osby case have been pulled from child protective duties because of missteps. They were supposed to try and make contact with this family every 24 hours. Instead, they went and sat inactive for 61 days, not contacting that family. And as her mother has now admitted, on the 61st day, Amaria was asphyxiated with a plastic bag.
DCFS did nothing for 2 months. They went out the same day that Amaria ends up being killed by her mom. It's just inexcusable.
Hi, it's me, Amaria.
Amaria Osby was 3 years old when DCFS entered her life. The department today releasing their timeline of encounters with her. The first hotline call came in 5 years ago. Amaria, age 3, as the child victim. Allegations stemmed from a DUI charge where the mother was arrested and charged with child endangerment. On March 23rd of this year, a hotline report was made identifying Amaria as the child victim. This allegation stemmed from Amaria allegedly witnessing a domestic violence incident between the mother and father in a public setting. There were no allegations of abuse involving Amaria. The next day, the timeline shows, an investigator made a good faith attempt to visit the child victim and family without success. 61 days would elapse until the next attempt. May 24th, an investigator visited the family and spoke with the mother and the child. There were no noted concerns for physical abuse or neglect. Hours later, after bedtime prayers, claiming her daughter loved her father more, Amaria's mother tells police she put a bag over the 8-year-old's head until she screamed, "Mommy, stop," killing her.
They dropped the ball and did not do anything for 2 months. Their own regs say that they have to see the child within 24 hours.
DCFS Administrative Code says in cases like this, good faith attempts must be made every 24 hours or sooner, including weekends and holidays, until the child victim is seen, unless a waiver is granted by the child protection supervisor.
All of this is interrelated and goes to DCFS's illegal investigator caseload ratios and just the inept bureaucracy that it is.
You heard the Cook County Public Guardian talking about staffing shortages. 22% of investigator positions are sitting vacant in the state of Illinois right now. That is putting extra pressure on those who are on the job and leaving cases like Amaria's with not as much due diligence as they might otherwise. She is the 6th child on DCFS radar to die since last December. And we should point out, just before news time, we learned the Inspector General who oversees child deaths inside DCFS is resigning his position. Live in Uptown.
Okay, let's stop it right there. So they said he's resigning. Now, I wonder if that's like a forced resignation, because what that essentially means is that he wouldn't be able to apply for unemployment to be able to get paid from the Department of Children and Family Services. So if he resigned, that's part of the reason, as opposed to them firing that individual. So I don't really know how that works, but I think that's the reason for it. But let me say this, and again, it confirmed a lot of stuff that I thought. They had a lot of things going on prior to this point where DCFS could have stepped in and been able to prevent this situation. There were many red flags. There were yellow flags on the play, but there were many, many red flags. The DUI, the domestic violence that the child witnessed, but they said, but the child didn't have anything to do with it. You know, this is why I continue to lose faith in the state of Illinois. Because between Ohio and Illinois, they continue to keep getting this wrong, especially when it comes to how you should apply the law. In places like Texas and in many other states, if a child witnesses domestic violence, it is considered to be effective towards the children. It affects them. So how are they saying that she witnessed the violence, but it didn't affect her and that had nothing to do with her? In all actuality, it did. She was there. She saw it. It affected her. But yeah, like I said, I don't think that being fired should be the end-all, fix-all. I think those people need to start getting jail time, because when a child dies on your watch from a failure for you to do your job, that should deem jail time. That's the word I'm looking for. When a child dies on your watch, that should deem jail time. Not just, I'm going to just step back off this job. I'm going to accept being resigned and I'm going to go find something else to do and just move on. That's not justice. That's not justice at all. We're going to want to see her in prison for the rest of her life for what she did to this child. I also think that Child Protective Services, if they're going to step into this position, if they're going to have these roles and accept the paycheck for these jobs that they're claiming that they're doing, then if you ask me, they also need to be held accountable when they continue to keep losing children on payroll while they're being paid. They're not doing their damn jobs. But nonetheless, I think this story is really, really sad. And again, the system is not really meant to take care of our children. I continue to say that mothers and fathers, biological mothers and biological fathers, have to start bringing children into this world in much better situations than what we're doing. We need to have our finances together. We need to have our emotions together. And we need to have our plan together. I still continue to put this at the feet of the biological mother and biological father. I am a big proponent of marriages, even though marriages aren't perfect and they have a high failure rate, but I still think that the way that we used to bring children into this world, bringing them into marriages, is a much better situation than just willy-nilly just bringing children into whatever situation, having baby mama and baby daddy all over the damn place. It's just not conducive to raising children, okay? So RIP to that baby, and I hope that this mother, this alleged mother, I don't even want to call her mother, this individual needs life in prison. So let's hope that we see that through. Thank you guys so much for listening to this story with an open mind as well as an open heart. Thank you.